Did have shade.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Sorry, I farted.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Let me put it this way, Mr. Raymer. The 9000 series is the most reliable computer ever made. No 9000 computer has ever made a mistake or distorted information. We are all, by any practical definition of the words, foolproof and incapable of error.
Did have shade.
Geez, you're real nice. If I didn't have puke breath, I'd kiss you.
Something strange happened to me this morning. Was it a dream where you see yourself standing in sort of sun god robes on a pyramid with 1,000 naked women screaming and throwing little pickles at you? No. Why am I the only person that has that dream?
Did have shade.
I'd like to kick his ass just once.
I know he can get the job, but can he do the job?
I'm rich and I'm dead sexy.
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
Did have shade.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
You are physically repulsive, intellectually retarded, vulgar, insensitive, selfish, stupid. You have no taste, a lousy sense of humor, and you smell.
So that's the kind of fight it's gonna be.
I'd like to kick his ass just once.
Did have shade.
You lied to me.
I'd like to kick his ass just once.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
It's not Irish. It's not English.
Oh, yeah. Fair, the Welshman can't just for the horses, you know.
It's just, well, it's just pikey.
would you classify that as a launch problem or a design problem?
I'm just a happy camper.
So that's the kind of fight it's gonna be.
I know he can get the job, but can he do the job?
Well, hi everybody. I know. I'm a little early today. I kind of have to be because I'm gonna be doing Stuttering John's podcast at 4:30, so I have to kind of bail out at 4:15 and do this. And obviously, since Trump is having a task force briefing all by himself, it will be somewhere between a short, no question bailout and a stammering, nonsensical blather. Like the Chris Wallace interview without Chris Wallace acting as like bumper pool bumpers to keep the topic on the same track. So hope you guys are here and settled in and you've got a beverage Task Farce 1. Yeah, this is Task Farce number 2. This is Task Farce number 2. Yeah.
Did have shade.
I was very inspired by the request for Snatch sound bites yesterday, so I went and hunted some down, and that was my favorite one. In many ways, you know how you guys know how much I love the quote from The Rock.
How, in the name of Zeus's butthole, did you get out of your cell?
It took some hunting, and I found it without having to go through the entire movie. But this one is from Snatch, and I don't remember if you guys know the movie. I love that movie. I love Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes movies. I'm on the fence about Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I feel like he was still finding his footing, maybe. But the style all came together in Snatch, and there's so much so much to enjoy about that movie. But the line where Mickey has drunk himself into a stupor during his mother's wake and still has to fight the next day and not kill the other fighter with one punch because he's got to go down in the third, and they're like, their lives rest on it. The guy they're up against feeds people to pigs, and they like, Mickey, get up, and they slap him, and he goes, and he sits up, and that's the first thing he says is,
Did have shade.
Yeah, I need to have a shade, which I just love. So I found that one. Good luck, Lori, in the Florida Panhandle. That's a hot spot right now. Stay indoors, wear a mask, wash common surfaces, cough into your elbow, and probably wear gloves everywhere you go. That would be good. So, yeah. So, because of you guys, I now find it like part of my responsibility in the intro and the outro of the show is I'm getting set up and making sure my gear kind of works, that I have new and interesting sound bites to flow in there. Because the first time Can't Stop Lying wrote, new sound drops, I was like, okay, now I've got to do new sound drops all the time. Thank you, Raphael. Yeah, payer-funded rally. You mean like the phone calls he was making from the toilet that I showed yesterday? And by the way, yeah, I've decided that my hair at this current stage is Star Trek villain from the original series. All I need is a headband that squishes this part of my hair, and that's what it'll be. So, but I can full-on headbang now. It's like getting to that length. It's a good time. Finally. You know what I mean? Like, I just need one of those leather headbands, though, that goes around, and oddly, for whatever reason, their bangs are on the outside, poking their eyes, which is the whole point behind a headband. I don't get it. Who was that? Somebody mentioned the Real Genius drops, and I just appreciate you knowing that. Hal, you can always throw in more Real Genius drops. There's always more room. I agree, Amy K. You never get enough. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you like the mixture of the hair and glasses. This is my own. These are my blue blocker glasses that I wear when I'm working at the computer. This is the shaggy professor. I know you were late getting that paper in, but there's other ways you can make extra credit. So, yeah. I'm here to keep you sane. We will enjoy ourselves. To everyone who is just joining us and who's never seen this before and doesn't know what we do is we protect our country and defend our democracy and our Constitution and our system of government and the presidency and our flag by not letting it be defined by this orange Hitler-Gibbon moron, failed businessman, debt vulture, sexual assaulter, who shoves all the normal functioning of government off onto lackeys and takes credit for it when it works, and also takes credit for everything that Obama did while still trying to dismantle it. By the way, it's a countdown now. We're a week and a half away from the perfect healthcare plan. Week and a half. So we're going to keep this countdown. And he said it this weekend. We're almost at Wednesday. I think it was Saturday when he said 2 weeks. We're going to have a perfect, beautiful healthcare plan that covers pre-existing conditions, no individual mandate, no extra taxes, cheaper, more beautiful, simpler, better. You can go wherever you want and it'll be free, but it's not socialism. So I'm waiting, and I'm very excited about the idea. I think all of us are just goading at seeing what the actual details are. So there you go. It's going to be fascinating. Brendan just got back from the dentist. This should be slightly better than that, but very similar. So, and again, to our lovely trolls, maggots, bots, Trumpsters who come in there and are like, stop disrespecting our president. No, out of respect for the presidency, I'm not going to take this clown seriously. I refuse to do it. He doesn't take the office seriously. He's pissed away the deaths of 140,000 Americans. He's gross and incompetent and a fool, and our country is better than this. And if you don't like that, there are thousands of other venues you can go to. But I appreciate you being here and boosting my numbers, because again, the algorithm does not care whether you like me or not. It just likes the eyeballs. And speaking of eyeballs, let's see how bloodshot these are today. Because I'm going to go with up all night, bags under the eyes, which are accented by the raccoon orange face paint job that he normally has. We're going to take this as live too, because we're only a little bit behind, maybe about 15, 20 minutes. So yeah, this is going to be a good time. There we go. It's just him and Kaylee off on the side in case he needs some paper. By the way, whoever this is holding that microphone is just not selling it today. They're literally like, it's like the time I was at a party and Paris Hilton was there with one of her friends, and her friend freaked out because he was excited to meet me, because why wouldn't you be? I was on his favorite show, and he asked her to take a picture of us. That's right. Paris Hilton once photographed me and someone else. I think it's the only picture she's ever been forced to take, and she literally did it like this. She was like, didn't even look, like, click.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You might be thanking me too early, though. By the way, I'm liking the weird part going on in your hair, where like half of it is just given up, or the comb over doesn't quite reach, or you're trying to tighten it, or something.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good evening. Good morning.
Today I want to provide.
At least he's just passed that one checkbox of the cognitive impairment test.
Update on our response to the China virus and what my administration.
To the China virus. Are we worried about how it's going in China right now? Are we sending ventilators to China? How are our medical teams working on vaccines that we will send to China to help the poor people of China? Oh, you mean it came from there and you're not responsible because it's from somewhere else? So let me get this straight. If a terrorist came from another country and blew up one of our buildings or crashed some planes in it, that wouldn't be your responsibility. That would be the other country's responsibility. Like if the majority of the 9/11 attackers were, say, Saudi, you would really hold that against the Saudis with some regularity. You wouldn't like do a sword dance with them or anything the first time you went over in public.
Administration is doing to get the outbreak in the Sun Belt under control.
Oh, there's an outbreak in the Sun Belt? An outbreak of what? Barbecues? What's happening in the Sun Belt? Is everybody getting tan lines? Ow.
It's largely in Sun Belt, but could be spreading.
Thanks, I feel much better.
My team is also working
largely in Sun Belt, but could be spreading. This is okay. This pathological need to exaggerate everything to make it bigger, even when it's something bad. That's like when he goes, "We're setting record numbers coming over the border but in a downward way." Like he can't even speak in the language of reality. I can't stop lying.
Night and day with Capitol Hill to advance
the
next economic relief package. We're working very hard on it. We're making a lot of progress.
Could you possibly work smart on it? Would that be too much to ask?
So you also.
I don't care how difficult it is. This is like, I'm working very hard, like I worked on the cognitive impairment test. That was so hard. It was so difficult.
know that both sides want to get it done.
Yeah. Both sides don't want to see the entire economy collapse starting next week.
We'll call it phase.
Dude, this dude only wants to do this because everybody at CNBC, all the Wall Street channels, every YouTuber that does stocks is like, here comes the cliff.
I think we're going to get it done. You're
going to call it they're going to call it phase 4, guys, in case you had that, on your bingo card, or if you're like, in case that was important to you.
Our workers, our schools, and our families, and protect them very strongly. As one family.
As opposed to weak protection? Like a condom with holes in it or something?
We mourn every precious life that's been lost. I pledge in their honor that we will develop a vaccine and we will defeat the virus.
I pledge in their honor that we will develop a vaccine. Is this supposed to be his, 300 moment? I come back with your vaccine or upon it.
Very well with vaccine development and therapeutic.
This is pharma!
Development. But I want to thank our
Yeah, there was no phase 3. Phase 3, Alex, come on. There's no phase 3. We're going straight to phase 4. Probably phase 5 if you think about it. It's probably a 6th phase if you really, honestly, this is, we just go, I don't even do anything it's phase 10. These phases go to 11.
Doctors and nurses and frontline responders, the job they do is incredible, and they are
first responders.
Brave.
Yes, we agree.
Administration will stop at nothing to save lives and shield the vulnerable, which is so important. We've learned so much about this disease, and we know who the vulnerable are. And
do we now?
We are going to indeed shield them.
So you're not going to use them as human shields? You're actually going to try and save their lives? And you want points for that?
And again, the vaccines are coming. And
yeah, this is pharma is pretty... I was pretty proud of that just now. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is wit, and it's spontaneous. Sometimes there's a massive fail, like yesterday when I thought we were playing the clip from today that was actually from a month ago. But I bet you anything he says exactly the same thing.
A lot sooner than anyone thought.
A mistake anyone could make simply because he says the same shit all the time.
Possible. By years. If you look at the old system and look at the new system, I think by years.
You mean the old system, like when Ignaz Semmelweis tried to get doctors to wash their hands between touching a corpse and giving and birthing a baby, and they threw him out of the British medical establishment? Like those kind of old medical standards, and like now when we have electron microscopes, like that kind of stuff, like because time passes in a linear notion and technology improves, as does information. You want credit for this disease not hitting in 1982?
The China virus is a vicious...
The China virus. Get over yourself, dummy. Every time he says China virus, what he's saying is, it's not my fault. It's somebody else sent this. I was golfing.
It's a dangerous illness, but we've learned...
He's literally... You know that scene in Army of Darkness where Ash goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold it right there, Spinach Chin. I never even saw these assholes before. That's what he's talking.
Learned a great deal about it and who it targets.
It doesn't target anyone. It's a replicating virus. It targets everyone. It just affects some people more. Stop anthropomorphizing a pathogen.
We are in the process of developing a strategy that's going to be very, very...
Oh shit. Guys, I feel so much better. It's fucking June 21st, and they're in the process of developing a strategy. Don't you feel safer already? It's almost August, just in time to start developing a strategy. Did we just hear that right? Come here. Wait,
Vaccines are coming, and they're coming a lot sooner than anyone thought possible.
Yep.
By years. If you look at the old system and look at the new system, I think by years.
I think by years. You mean versus AIDS?
The China virus is a vicious and dangerous illness, but we've learned a great deal about it.
You've learned that. Here's something we've learned: don't pour bleach down your throat or eat fishbowl cleaner, and don't shove a light bulb up your ass unless your partner knows the safe word. And make sure that partner isn't Ed Henry because he doesn't honor safe words.
And who?
As a matter of fact, anybody at Fox News.
Targets. We are in the process of developing a strategy that's going to be very, very powerful. We've developed them as we go along. Some areas of our country are doing very well. Others are doing less well.
Less well. That's what's the outbreak in the Sun Belt. That's just them. You know what that is? That's just them doing less well. They're less than well. Why isn't he breathing anymore? Well, technically, he's less than well.
It will probably, unfortunately, get worse before it gets better.
Oh, okay. So this is his attempt at straight talk.
Something I don't like saying about...
Of course you don't. It's the truth. You have a physical aversion to it. Did you? What an asshole.
Things, but that's the way it is. It's the way...
I don't like saying it. Imagine how the people dying from this shit feel.
The China virus is a vicious and dangerous illness, but we've learned a great deal about it and who it targets. We are in the process of developing a strategy that's going to be very, very powerful. We've developed them as we go along. Some areas of our country are doing very well. Others are doing less well. It will probably, unfortunately, get worse before it gets better. Something I don't like saying about things, but that's the way it is. It's the way...
This is moronic. Oh, we know a lot about this. We absolutely know more about this disease than we did before it actually showed up. We know a ton. We know to keep your vitamin D levels up and your zinc levels up is a good idea. Make sure you're taking your supplements. Make sure getting some sun doesn't hurt. You don't want to get a sunburn, but it's helpful. We know that it targets people, men more than women, because of the ACE receptors in the lungs. We know that it's the main reason it kills you is the cytokine storm, which is an immunological response that say that fast with big lips like these. The bottom one's the tough one. The upper one's okay and manages, but the bottom one, very troublesome. But it's worth it. But, all right.
That's what we have.
I got way off course on that one.
You look over the world, it's all over the world. And it tends to do...
It's not my fault. It's everywhere. Stupid virus.
That the governors are working very, very hard, and we are supporting them 100%, everything.
Yeah. 40%.
They need, they get, and we are taking...
Yeah, they get it themselves. You told them to get it themselves. Thanks, Lisa Miamore. Thank you guys for the super chats today, and much love to our patrons. I didn't get to say that enough yesterday, and the day before we had tech issues as well. So bless you and thank you, and I appreciate you, and hello and welcome, and I'm glad you're here. And Amy, thank you for the super chat. I just got my mail, and I appreciate that. Thank you. And yeah.
Good care. We have tremendous supplies and a great supply chain, whether it's ventilators or gowns or just about anything they need. So that's it.
Just about, except for swabs and testing reagents. We don't have enough of that stuff, but, 6 of one, half dozen of another, honestly. Why did this screen size change? What are you doing? Terrible, terrible framing situation. Why did that drop down? Look at this. I don't want to see the comments on Fox News. What kind of garbage is that? Can you imagine the PTSD and brain disease we would get just from reading those things?
Yeah, big difference from inheriting very, very empty cupboards.
Asshole, you got the cupboards, and by the way, We had 6 million tons of PPE and medicines and all kinds of stuff in storage when he took over. Some of that stuff you have to change all the time, and he let it rot on the shelves. They did not re-up the PPE that was in there. But it's 3.5 years into your presidency. Even if you were left completely on your heels, one of the things you would have done when you dismissed the pandemic response team is make sure that you at least have the materials on hand necessary to fight a pandemic if it does come along. This is just goofy.
The median age of those who succumb to the China virus is 78 years old. Roughly half of all deaths have been individuals in nursing homes or long-term care.
Yeah, and roughly half are not.
In one study,
like literally, you're talking about at 72, the executive class of the United States. You're talking about a third of your administration. You're talking about 40% of the people of senators, something along those lines, just in that window.
90% of those hospitalized had underlying medical conditions, whether it's heart or diabetes, but usually it's
if you have a heart, it's a comorbidity apparently. If having an actual heart, so he's safe, is what he's telling you.
Some kind of a condition. It seems that people have that, and if they do, it's a problem, no question about it. Young adults may often have mild or even no symptoms. They won't even know they're sick.
Yeah, they just carry it around and give it to everybody. That's what makes this disease particularly bad, you dickhead.
They won't have any idea that they have a virus. They won't have any...
Yeah, they have no idea. And they feel fine. And they don't know what the big deal is, and you tell them it's a hoax, and all these QAnon assholes are spreading shit all over Facebook saying that it's not a problem, and then they go give it to someone who dies.
Idea at all?
Usually a close friend or relative.
America's youth will act responsibly, and we're asking everybody that when you are not able to socially distance, wear a mask, get a mask, whether you like the mask or not. They have an impact, they'll have an effect, and we need everything we can get.
Yeah, now you're saying this? Okay, for the record, was it Michelle Malkin who said he was called Trump unpatriotic for wearing a mask in a picture? So this is a big turnaround. But I would like all you Trumpsters and maggots and QAnon fans to listen to the president's words right now. Your dear leader is telling you to stop licking the glass at Publix and throwing tantrums in every sandwich shop you go into and wear a goddamn mask.
Data shows children have the lowest fatality risk. 99.96% of all virus fatalities are in adults. Think of that.
Yeah, adults over the age of 18. And, hold on one second. If we're going to do this, we got to do it right. Why are you... Hold on. So
that's much, much, much less than 1% for children, young people.
Yeah, for under the age of 18. We know this. But you do realize that every business in the country, with the exception of a couple of apps on the App Store, are run by people over the age of 18. You do realize that in the 18 to 72% or 65-year-old window, which is the other roughly 50% of the deaths from this, are people who are employers or employees of very important, I mean, I guess even if their job is unimportant, they don't deserve to die for it, but are kind of crucial to the economy.
By understanding these risk profiles and learning how to treat the disease, we've been able to greatly reduce mortality in the United States. In fact, we'll show you a chart and how well we do compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah, don't show the chart from South Korea or Iceland or
several treatments already
Brazil
available that significantly reduce the severity and duration of the disease, including remdesivir. which has been very successful. And
yeah, and who figured that out? The South Koreans.
A widely available steroid.
Okay, get me the death chart. Get me the chart of death.
Treatment, and we have many more happening and coming out. We've learned best practices for treatment of the virus at every stage. And
oh, yeah. Where did we learn it from? From the CDC and the NIH. People you were going, well, I don't really agree with what they're saying about how we should. And by the way, you are right now, for the record, this asshat is completely backtracking from what he's been saying. This is what we would traditionally refer to in politics as a flip-flop. He is flip-flopping on the importance of masks right now. Hard. And you know why? Is it because he's suddenly matured on the idea? No. It's because the disease is finally killing people in the red states. And it's the same reason Republicans that give a shit about it are suddenly finding Jesus on this, is because it's killing their people now. That's it. That's the only way. That's the only reason he's saying this.
Shared these findings with medical providers, and we've shared them all over the world.
Yeah, and they're sharing theirs with us, and we're collaborating. That's how these kind of pandemics are handled.
The relationship with other countries has been very strong. We're all working together. This includes ensuring all hospitals are aware of the importance of different approaches to oxygen treatment.
You mean not using ventilators and using ECMO systems to pump reoxygenated blood into people's femoral arteries? That's fun. A friend of ours that's all he does at the hospital now. That's his entire shift, is putting ECMO lines into people's thighs to oxygenate their blood because of COVID. That's his whole day. That's all day, every day.
Including high flow oxygen,
one hospital.
Importance of steroid treatment for those on.
It's not steroid treatment. It's dexamethasone. It's one steroid. It's a steroid. It's not steroids. Nobody's giving deer testicle juice or what, I don't know what the shit's in steroids, but they're not giving the stuff weightlifters use. They're not injecting it into the neck of COVID patients.
Ventilators. And when you're on a ventilator, we've learned a tremendous about the use of the ventilator. And at the beginning, people never had an experience like this, where we needed so many ventilators so fast, and even the use of the ventilators. But the doctors have become incredibly, and nurses and helpers have become incredibly good at the use of a ventilator, which is actually a very complicated procedure.
Okay, first of all, intubating someone is not a complicated procedure. It's done all the time. Trauma nurses and trauma surgeons and ER people, they do it constantly. Every time somebody rolls in with a gunshot wound, anytime somebody's in a car accident with a punctured lung or a busted rib, they'll intubate people. Like, this is a normal aspect. Okay, hold on one second. We will take a momentary fix while I do something real quick, because the Facebook crowd is not behaving themselves. And while I will let them flail about in here, the reality is a lot of them are just spamming. So, which is aggravating. Yeah, they're so mad. I understand this. I understand why they're angry about Trump being a completely ineffective fool who can't, the man has to wear an adult diaper, for crying out loud, every single day. So go to Fox News. I know they're bots. That's the thing, is that they're just kind of flooding the whole thing. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah, there's a ton of them. You know what it is? Because the number of, because I put Trump in the actual title. So it kicked their let's see, dink. It kicked their why is this doing this? All right, hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Mark has COVID-19 update. Let's see. This is good. Yeah, we'll put this in here. Since they're in here, why not? And Daniel, we don't say die Trump or anything in here. We like you can get aggravated about him and all that stuff. That's fine, but we don't wish death on anybody here. That's not how we operate. So yeah, here we go.
Allocating remdesivir to hospitals based on new admissions since it works best early in hospitalization. And that's something that they've really started. They're using it much earlier.
Yeah, most of these they start using way early if they can get them. We bought up the world supply of remdesivir.
Fatalities nationwide.
Remdesivir.
Fallen 75% since mid-April. It's a great number. As cases and fatalities rise.
Holy smokes. That's partly why, too. We have 2,000 people watching on Facebook right now. That might be why the Russian bots and the Trumpsters and the maggots are freaking out.
Certain hard-hit states, which you...
But thanks for the boost. I'll leave the page open because every single post they put in here isn't convincing anyone, and it just boosts my algorithm.
Looking at right now, we're surging personnel, supplies, and therapeutics. We, again, have tremendous amounts of supplies. We are in very good shape.
We're surprised at how many supplies we have. Thanks, Tom.
And we
Oh, he's not going to mention John Lewis. No.
Move them quickly. Our case fatality rate has continued to decline and is lower than the European Union and almost everywhere else in the world.
The European Union is a group of countries. If you put them together as a whole, you can water down the statistic. But we're losing behind a bunch of other countries. He didn't want to mention like 6 countries in Europe because that makes us look bad.
If you watch American
yeah,
television.
keep saying Biden has dementia because when he kicks Trump's ass in all 3 debates, it's going to make Trump look extra bad. I mean, this is a guy who bragged about being able to pick out a kangaroo next to an elephant.
I think that the United States was the only country involved with and suffering from the China virus. Well, the world is...
Yeah, the rest of the world is dealing with COVID-19.
Suffering very badly. But the fact is that many countries are suffering very, very, very badly. And they've been suffering from this virus for a long time.
And that's why today I'm decided to quit being president and run for president of Earth. Because no one can do better than me.
And much better than most. And with the fatality rate at a lower rate than most, it's something that we can talk about. But we're working again with them because we're helping a lot of countries that people don't even know about. I get calls all the time asking for help.
Yeah, that's what they're asking for. Does the snickering give it away at all?
Especially as it pertains to the ventilators. They need...
Yeah, they don't need ventilators because of COVID-19. They need ventilators because ventilators are expensive worldwide. And if you're handing them out, they'll take some for malaria and tuberculosis and trauma.
Help with ventilators. They have to...
Oh, he said China virus a bunch of times.
Get them. They're very hard to get. We're making...
We're sending a lot of them to Epstein's Island. I'm going to be living there after I leave the country and form my own tax shelter.
Thousands now a month, thousands of ventilators a month. It's been quite amazing. We keep doing the good job and things will get better and better. We'll be putting up...
Aren't they getting better and better? That's why there's a huge surge in the Sun Belt.
Charts behind...
Sorry, embers.
Showing different statistics and different rates of success. And I guess you could say also things that we can do better on. But you'll see them. They'll be put up as we go in April.
You mean you?
The average age of individuals who tested positive for the virus was over 50 years old. Today, the average age is significantly younger. Hospital lengths of stay are almost half of what they were in April. So the stays are about half. The rate of cases requiring hospitalization has been reduced.
Well, they switched to a, they're showing the graph now. Oh, look at, and it's, by the way, cumulative COVID-19 tests as of today. Like altogether, let's not think for a second this is how many you're doing per week or anything even close to that. Also up against countries, it's not a per capita list, it's cumulative, not based on per capita. So you're up against what, a bunch of like South Korea and Canada and Italy and United Kingdom, places that have like 1/5 of our population, and India, which is huge but impoverished.
Mortality among those admitted to the hospital is nearly 1/2 of what it was in April. We've learned a lot. We've learned a lot.
What have we learned? Tell us what we've learned so far. I know what we've learned. We've learned that wearing masks is a good idea and not a sign of weakness and unpatriotic. That's weird.
About this disease, how to handle it. The doctors have learned a lot, not only in the use of the ventilators, but in many other things. And things are happening too, like the remdesivir and other elements, steroids, etc. But these trends could change,
folks,
without our continued and relentless focus. And that's what we have. We have a
that, like, just happening, man. The whole thing, just groovy.
Relentless focus, and it's been that way from the beginning.
By the way, I'm so excited how upset the trolls are, because it must really hurt to watch your dear leader suck this bad at even the most baseline activity in leadership.
But we've learned so much. As you know, in recent weeks, we've seen a concerning rise in the cases in many parts of our South. You look at South, Southwest, and West.
Yeah, all the places you thought were more talented and doing a great job and so much better than everybody else, and they were awesome, and you can't do any better than, you know, like the New York and, you know, Inslee and Cuomo. They were maybe just not as talented as the Sun Belt states. It was a matter of talent. Now all of a sudden these assholes aren't talented anymore, I guess.
Both in cases first began to appear in mid-June, primarily among 18 to 35-year-olds, many of whom were asymptomatic.
Thank you, Joyce.
We're also facing the challenge of a significant spike in virus cases across the...
Oh, a spice in virus cases. There was a... I don't know if you caught that. There was a spice. Either someone on his notes wrote spike and spelled it with a hard C, or...
Our South, you look at South, Southwest, and West, this growth in
South, Southwest, and West, any of the West family, Kanye is not feeling well.
Cases first began to appear in mid-June, primarily among 18 to 35-year-olds, many of whom were asymptomatic.
Yeah, you mean carriers of the disease? Delivery methods for the disease?
We're also facing the challenge of a significant spike in virus cases across the...
Oh, a significant spice. That's a spicy meatball!
Rest of the Western Hemisphere, including Mexico. Mexico's been hit very, very, very hard, as you know.
You know Mexico's not part of the United States, right? Does he know that? I mean, if he's built, why would he build a wall if they're part of the United States?
The president, a great gentleman, was here 2 weeks ago, and they have really been hit hard.
Oh, it's
because
rough.
We've achieved a nearly fourfold increase in testing capacity in 2 months. We're successfully identifying more asymptomatic and mild cases. Some cases so mild that you really don't even treat them.
Yeah, but they carry the disease. Do you see the problem? Do you see the high contagion rate, and we're unable to pinpoint precisely, besides people who would die of flu and other things early anyways, which, by the way, they still had life left. They didn't deserve to die early because of this. You can't just, well, they were going to die, so, with human beings. But even if you are, and you're writing that whole passive eugenics of old people off, there's a bunch of people that don't know it's going to hit them hard, that are, the disease is carried into the house by someone who doesn't have any symptoms at all. Otherwise, this wouldn't be a big deal. It's one of the reasons Ebola is not a huge problem. Ebola is a terrible disease, but it doesn't spread because you have to be symptomatic. And when you're symptomatic, you look awful. You're bleeding out of your nose and your ears. It's frightening as hell. Nobody gets near you. So it naturally burns itself out. This doesn't.
Cases with children where they don't even know that they're ill. And I guess...
Yes, and they carry it around.
They're not very ill because they recover almost immediately. Per capita...
No, they don't. First of all, you don't recover when you don't know you're ill. There's no recovery. You just carry the disease and pass it through your system. So you have a period of contagion, and then you don't. There's no recovery from, I mean, it's like the economy, you know.
The U.S. is conducting 50% more tests than Europe, and we've conducted nearly 3 times as many tests as all of the other countries in the Western Hemisphere combined. Be over 50 million tests.
Yeah, we're the richest country and we have the largest population.
This allows us to isolate.
Again, this isn't a per capita thing. He's not making this argument per capita yet. Where's that?
And you know, when you say per capita, there's many per capitas. It's like per capita relative to what?
But what about South America?
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Is there anybody else at the gathering today?
We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Carrot.
Carrot? What about other subterranean vegetation?
You'll have nobody guarding your potatoes.
Okay.
Those who are infected, even those without symptoms, so we know exactly where it's going and when it's going to be there. We're also working to...
So we can head it off when it's going to be there? Yeah. We'll meet him there. You know what? Tell you what, I got to go to the bathroom, but I'll meet you.
Reduce turnaround time. My administration has been aggressively responding to case growth in the Sun Belt, and we continue to do so, working very close with all governors, but right now, in particular, those governors.
Yeah, the ones you actually give a shit about. And notice he's not saying anything about the Sun Belt governors like they're less talented or, you know, they should have taken care of this themselves. None of that stuff, because these are all right-wing states, so he's kissing their asses and starting to wear a mask.
Coordinating closely with hospitals and governors. In the last 3 weeks, I've sent senior officials into 9 states to meet with governors and provide recommendations to the various leaders of the state, including hospital administrators, etc. My administration currently has 0 unfulfilled requests for equipment or anything else that they need from the governors. No governor needs anything right now, and we think
yeah, because they're getting it themselves.
We'll have it that way till the end, because frankly...
Till the end. The end of what?
We are
the world?
Stocked up and ready to go wherever we have.
Yeah, I mean, that isn't actually true, but go ahead.
We've nearly 7,000 National Guard and military medical personnel in Texas, California, Florida, and Arizona that's helping us greatly. I want to thank them very much. The military has been fantastic.
They're good people. Don't have a problem with them.
We're closely monitoring hospital capacity in these states. Hospitals are open for elective surgeries and other procedures. So hospitals are open for elective surgeries. We want Americans to get...
Yeah, because this is a great time to go in and get that boob job or that nose job. It's a great time. You need a knee that's got a little... I don't know, it creaks when it rains. I think it'd be a good time right now to go to a hospital where they're out of ventilators.
The medical treatments they need, all of the governors.
I'm sure there's a QAnon person in the Facebook group that is taking down the monotonous word by word, like dot, dash, dash, dot, and coming up with some sort of Morse code message.
We've spoken.
What he's truly saying is a Bible verse. Many of you aren't aware that he's sent by God, and if you listen to the way he talks and and you fill it out, it gives you latitude and longitude coordinates that if you add a 2 to every 6th number and take away a 2 from every one and spell kofefe every 3rd word, It will bring you to a pizza parlor in your local area that has no basement that you can shoot through the windows of.
Say they have enough bed capacity. That's a great thing. Our initial...
Yeah, they have beds. They're running out of ICU space. It's not, people aren't taking a nap there. The reason they have plenty of bed capacity is because no one's going in for elective surgeries because the ICUs and the emergency rooms are overrun.
Shutdown was to prevent the overflow of our hospitals and to allow us to meet the demands caused by this global pandemic, including the ventilators. And a permanent shutdown was really never an option in terms of what we're doing right now. This would be completely unsustainable.
A permanent shutdown would be completely unsustainable? Okay, did I mishear him while I was reading? Hold on.
Hospitals are open for elective surgeries and other procedures. So hospitals are open for elective surgeries.
No one's going because what a terrible time to go in for something you can wait a couple of months on.
Want Americans to get the medical treatments they need. All of the governors we've spoken with say they have enough bed capacity. That's a great thing. Our initial shutdown was to prevent
it's their ICUs that are
the
overrun,
overflow of our hospitals and to allow us to meet the demands caused by this global pandemic, including the ventilators. And a permanent shutdown was really never an option in terms of what we're doing right now. This would be completely unsustainable, produce debilitating economic fallback.
Oh, okay. He just jumped from the hospitals to the economy as a permanent shutdown. So I think he skipped a whole sentence. Nobody ever suggested shutting down the hospitals. So try to keep your, maybe take the whole speech and divide it into paragraphs and give them subheadings, maybe even create bullet points so you know what the shit you're talking about. But also, who the hell was suggesting permanently shutting down the economy? This goes back to that whole, like, if I didn't do anything, there'd be like 3 million to 5 million dead people. Like that's an actual option as president.
Lead to catastrophic public health consequences. There are consequences to shutdowns, and
there would be you're right. There would be a consequence to permanently shutting down the economy. Permanently. What are you talking about?
We've saved potentially millions of lives by doing the initial shutdown, but now we're very aware of this disease. We understand the disease to a large extent. Nobody's going to maybe ever fully understand it, but we'll end up with a cure.
What do you mean they won't fully understand? Yeah, they will. That's one of the ways you do it. I mean, you mean in a philosophical, whimsical sense? I mean, poetically, it's hard to wrap your mind around what is dis-ease.
We'll end up with therapeutics. We'll end up with a vaccine very soon, all three. We're instead asking Americans to use masks, socially distance, and employ vigorous hygiene. Wash your hands every chance you get while sheltering high-risk
every chance you get
populations. We are imploring young Americans to avoid packed bars and other crowded indoor gatherings. Be safe.
Yeah, only go to that dump in town that nobody likes.
And be smart. We're surging testing capacity.
Well, that's a big ask for your followers, though. That's putting a lot of pressure on them.
Capacity to identify and isolate cases. This includes a newly approved testing platform to nursing homes across the South. We're being very, very vigilant with respect to nursing homes because you know all of the problems that
because we don't want all the Fox viewers to die.
We've had with so many people, so sadly, they were infected, so that all of the staff and residents can be routinely tested and isolated to
yeah, you mean shit I was suggesting 2 months ago?
ensure our elderly are even more strongly protected than anybody else. That's really the high-risk people, the high-risk, wonderful people.
The high-risk, unlike the high-risk awful people? What? The high-risk wonderful people. Is this a grown man we're watching speak? He's reading this.
This current surge in cases declines. The same testing platform will enable people to visit their loved ones after taking a test, which is a big difference. Ultimately, our goal is not merely to manage the pandemic, but to end it.
Wait, you can go visit people in an old folks home after you've taken a test. The Abbott test, which is the 15-minute test that he's always bragging about, has a 50% false positive rate. You might as well flip a coin. And you're going to put that at the door of a elder care facility, have people sit there for 15 minutes and like, yeah, you're good. And you go in and spread it to everybody.
We want to get rid of it as soon as we can.
Or how about you wait 3 days or 5 days or a week and a half to get your results and you're like, I'm fine. And in that 3 days, 5 days, or a week and a half, you've come in contact with the disease again and you actually have it.
That is why getting a vaccine remains a top priority.
Also, reading with my finger is a top priority.
2 vaccine candidates are entering the final stage of clinical trials this month. This was achieved in record time. It used to be years before you were in a position like we are right now.
Yeah, no. Every time we've had a possible pandemic, they've sped up the process. This one was just way bigger.
4 other vaccines will enter final trials in the following weeks, and we're mass producing all of the top candidates so that the first approved vaccine will be available immediately. And logistically, we have the military ready to go. We have...
Yeah, okay, there it is. That's the one. All you Trumpsters, all you maggots, all you QAnon crowds, and I know Facebook, you're full of them. Are you guys going to line up behind a military truck in a Walmart parking lot and get your shot? Say yes. Give a thumbs up if you're going to get the Trump vaccine first day it comes out. Please, please, please tell me you're going to vote for him, but you'll also take his vaccine as soon as it comes out by standing behind a military truck and getting a shot. Please.
Great people, logistic, military people, a wonderful general who's waiting for the vaccine so they can distribute it in record time. That's what's going to happen. So,
yep, and none of your followers will take it.
Our military is all set to go.
There's no way they think it's a UN conspiracy and they think you're unpatriotic for wearing a mask. They don't know what to make of you right now. They're all flipping out, and none of these assholes are going to get your shot.
We will deliver a vaccine, therapeutics, whatever it is necessary, and defeat.
Cynthia says, I will vaccine stupid. Well, okay. Well, if you're going to translate from Russian to English, learn how to use conjunctions.
The virus once and for all, and I'll take a few questions if you'd like.
Oh, joy.
I will say this. I want to thank all of the staff, the White House staff, all of the doctors that we've been working with so closely, and just a lot of very positive things are happening. It's a nasty, horrible disease that should have never been allowed to escape China, but it did. And it infected the world, and the world is suffering, but we're going to get it taken care of, and we're helping lots of other countries.
It's going to be like 15 cases. It's going to go to 0. We're just between that. You know what? This whole thing is happening between the 15 cases and it going to 0. He just didn't tell you the part where it would spike up and kill 150 to 200,000 people and then go back down to 0. He's basically right. I mean, it did go from 15 cases to 0. Yeah, by the way, the thing I ran yesterday, I stand by it. This is the same shit he said a month and a half ago.
John?
Mr. President.
Oh, there's tons of Q morons in there.
First, I just wanted to get a clarification. Your press secretary said today that you sometimes take more than 1 test a day. Well, why is that? And how often?
Well, I didn't know about more than 1. I do take probably on average a test every 2 days, 3 days, and I don't know of any time I've taken 2 tests in 1 day, but I could see that happening.
So she was wrong, she was lying, or she misspoke?
Republicans and Democrats on Capitol Hill both said that they want to see...
Wait, she wears a crucifix. She can't possibly be lying, so I'm going to trust her first.
More money for testing. They want to send billions of dollars.
By the way, thanks everybody for the support on the show. I really appreciate it. Today especially. Like, you guys are sweet. And the new follows and the new subscriptions. It's nice. It's nice to see.
The states so they can do more testing. And you probably saw Mick Mulvaney the other day said that his kids, it took them a week to get test results back. He said this is simply inexcusable given...
Yeah, well, Mick Mulvaney's probably a secret Democrat. I mean, honestly, he's not it's not like he used to work in the White House.
Where we are in the pandemic. Do you think we have a problem with testing in this country right now? And are you in favor of more money for testing?
We've done more testing by far than anybody. Some of the tests, because it is massive volume, it takes longer. Others of the tests, as you know, are very quick. They're 5 minutes and 15-minute tests.
Yeah, and they're less effective, and they have a lot of false positives and false negatives.
And those are, frankly, the ones that I prefer. But we're doing...
Yep, just like I said. All these assholes who've been yelling Trump 2020 are all saying, I'm not getting a shot. No shot for me. No vaccines here. No, yeah,
Massive numbers, and the numbers are coming down. And as we go, as an example, there are thousands and thousands of kits being made right now, which give you a 15-minute and a 5-minute test.
Yeah, or a false negative or a false positive, as we say around here.
So we'll be able to get those numbers down. Those numbers are similar in other places. They're also doing massive numbers like nobody thought possible. But those numbers will be coming down. I agree. I think it's a good thing if we can do it.
Are you in favor of more money for testing?
Well, they're going to make a presentation to me tonight and tomorrow on that.
Why are you blocking the billions of dollars in testing materials? That's what he's asking.
And again,
why?
Leading the world. I think the second country at 12 million. We're going to be over 50 million tests. Second country is India with 12 million. Then you have 7 million, 6 million, and 4 million. I think that...
yeah, in countries that have 50 million, 40 million, and 30 million people in them. We have 320 million. And plus, it's not a genetic test. It's a test to find out if you have it right now. If you get the test, go to some Cracker Barrel, sit down at a table, and some jerk-off not wearing a mask coughs on you, you can get it between the time you get your test and you get your results.
We are doing tremendous amount of testing, but if the doctors and the professionals feel that even though we're at a level that nobody ever dreamt possible, that they would...
Why would we not dream it possible? This is the country that put people on the moon. World War II was won because of us. Why would we not think we couldn't test all of our people or a huge portion?
Like to do more.
No one could ever dream that the American people could do anything useful, helpful, or good. What are you talking about?
I'm okay with it.
Why are your doctors not with you here today? Where's Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx?
Well, Dr. Birx is right out.
Because this is not a task force briefing. This is a campaign stop.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've got 2 questions for you, if that's all right. Number one, I just wanted to know, in November, do you want the American people to judge you on the...
Could you speak up, please?
Do you want American people to judge you on the ballot in November by how you've handled this pandemic so far?
This, among other things. I think the American people will judge us on this, but they'll judge us on the economy that I...
Oh, it's suddenly us. No, you. You're the president. You're the one who's being voted on.
Created, and that already we're creating. We're setting record job numbers, as you know. I think we're going to...
No, we're not. He keeps saying this. If you lose 35 million jobs and you get 5 back, you do not now have 40 million jobs that you've created. What kind of idiotic... This is the kind of idiotic math that makes you get a 93 on the... You just got hit in the head with a hammer and we're worried about you being able to drive a car test that you took at Walter Reed.
A very strong year next year. I think we're going to have a very strong third quarter.
Stronger than 15% unemployment? I should hope so.
A very good fourth quarter, but I think next year is going to be a record year. And
nobody on CNBC agrees with you.
They're going to judge me on that. I think they're going to judge me on the tax.
Yeah, Wall Street thinks you're an idiot right now.
Cutting and the regulation cut.
Not as much as Michelle Malkin and all the other hyper right-wingers who think that you're a traitor for wearing a mask, but close. I mean, the numbers are close.
Which nobody's ever done to the extent that we've been able to do it. On rebuilding the military, on how we've handled the VA. On the VA, we got Veterans Choice. Nobody thought that would...
No, you didn't. Okay, so this is a good one. Since we've got so many of... there might be a bunch of new folks on here. Shall we bring this one up, guys? Shall we share this one again? Shall we let him in on it? Let's see. VA choice. Shall we bring up what the VA choice? You couldn't get it done. It was for what, 40 years? You think he's going to say the 40-year quote? You think he's going to do that one? You think I'm going to go with he's going to say it again. He'll throw it in at the end. He'll say they tried to get it done for 45 years and then they won't get it. This is a running gag right now with him. Okay, so let's see what he says.
Possible. That's been many decades. They've been trying to get veterans.
Okay, all right, let's run that back. What did he say? What did he say, folks, in the chat room who are big Trump fans who supposedly love our troops? You lying bastards.
And that already we're creating. We're setting record job numbers, as you know. I think we're going to have a very strong year next year. I think we're going to have a very strong third quarter, a very good fourth quarter. But I think next year is going to be a record year. And I think they're going to judge me on that. I think they're going to judge me on the tax cutting and the regulation cutting, which nobody's ever done to the extent that we've been able to do it. On
Memorize
rebuilding
this.
The military, on how we've handled the VA. On the VA, we got Veterans Choice. Nobody thought that.
Oh, wait a minute. We got Veterans Choice. You mean the Choice Act of 2014 that was signed into law by Barack Obama? You mean the one where veterans have access to non-VA providers? You know the one? You know that one? You know that? The VA choice that nobody could pass for 45 years? That Obama signed into law in 2014, you jackasses? Honest to God. Like, if you're gonna lie about this stuff, just try a little harder. You know what I mean? Like, he'll probably mention the pay raise, which the military got a pay raise every year during the Obama administration. They've gotten 2 during the Trump administration, each at 2.6 and 2.4%. The largest one in the last 15 years came during the Obama administration. In 2010, it was 3.4%. The highest one was under Obama. So all you Trump 2020 fans and all you maggots and Trumpsters and QAnons and everybody who thinks the sun shines out of his ass, just get a grab hold of your desk or hold onto your belt or pull over to the side of the road if you're watching your phone while you're driving, which you probably are, and on your way to, I don't know, Chick-fil-A. Are they open today? I don't know how it works. And whatever else you think about me and what I'm saying on the show today, and whatever sun you think shines out of this orange buffoon's asshole, and you can't wait to line up and sniff his farts again, just wrap your head for a second around the fact that choice passed in 2014. Just breathe that in for a second and understand that not only is he lying right now, but he always lies about this one.
Would be possible. That's been many decades. They've been trying to get Veterans Choice. It's called Choice, where they can go get a doctor if they have to wait online for 2 weeks or 5 weeks or 2 days.
No. The timing is, it was, the original version says 45 miles. They've now moved it to 30 miles. It used to be 30 days. If you couldn't get an appointment in 30 days, it's now 28 days for elective stuff. It has always been, since 2014, that if it was an emergency or you had a crucial medical issue, you could get help right away. You didn't have to wait for the time limit. 2014. Just suck that up.
And frankly, that's been a great thing. Veterans accountability, I think they'll judge me on that. They'll judge me on all of the things we've done. I don't think, and I think we can say this, we sure, and it's never been even challenged in 3.5 years, the first 3.5 years, the first years of a presidency, I don't think any administration, any president has accomplished so much as we've accomplished from.
No. I mean, the Affordable Care Act was huge. And secondly, you're taking, in your list of things that that you've done in the first 3.5 years, you're taking credit for shit that you didn't do.
Energy, to health, to so many other things. And then this came in and
Yeah, I ditched Facebook.
The plague, I call it the plague. The plague came in, terrible thing, should have been stopped, wasn't stopped. It came in, we had to shut things down to save potentially millions of lives. We did that, and now we've started them up. And I think we've really started it up very successfully. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. You've been saying for months that the virus would simply disappear, and now you're saying that it's likely to get worse before it gets better. If it
why are you a lying asshole?
does keep getting worse, if Americans keep dying, are you responsible for that?
Well, the virus will disappear. It will
Yeah, but so will the Earth when the sun stops functioning as a star.
disappear.
Well, I reset the chat room in there, but
that I always like to say, as you know,
We'll
either
hop back
way,
in.
when you look at it, the governors are working with me. I'm working with the governor. We're working hand in hand. I think we're all responsible. I view it as a team. Very good relationships with the governors.
yeah, just in case, I feel bad. Like I feel like the some of the Facebook people might have missed that whole part.
But I think next year is going to be a record year.
Where is it?
And I think we can say this. We sure didn't. Nobody thought that would be
Here we
the
go.
tax cutting and the regulation cutting, which nobody's ever
not gonna
done
miss-
to the
I'm not
extent
gonna
that
let the
we've been able
Facebook
to do
folks
it.
miss
on
this.
rebuilding the military, on how we've handled the VA, on the VA.
Of all
We
people.
got Veterans Choice. Nobody thought that would be possible.
Bullshit happened in 2014. Obama signed it. There you go. That's for Facebook. Enjoy yourselves. Suck it up. You stink. Go away. Grow up. End of story.
It's been many decades. They've been trying to get Veterans Choice. It's called Choice, where they can.
Oh, what year is that? Wait, what year is that? 2014. There it is. Veterans Choice and Accountability Act of 2014. That's weird. And accountability. It's not just choice. Also accountability.
Get a doctor if they have to wait online for 2 weeks or 5 weeks or 2.
That's, yeah, wait a minute. They can do that now? That's weird because they've been able to do that since Obama was president. There it is. Improvement of access to care from non-VA providers. Claims processing. Project Access received closer to home. The ARC project, which is way better than Project Farting Eagle, by the way.
Days. And frankly, that's been a great thing. Veterans accountability. I think they'll judge me on that.
Oh, wait. Where did that word come in? Oh, shit. Look at that. It's the Veterans Access, Choice, and Accountability Act of 2014. Oh, by the way, if he got something passed in 29, what did he do? Knock off the access part? Huh? Facebook? Anybody? Just want to get lied to? You're just cool with that? You're just cool. Yeah. 2014, Obama signed Choice and Accountability into law. The congressperson who wrote it up, Hal Rogers, from my home state of Kentucky. He's a Republican. That's right. A Republican wrote this bill. It passed the House and Senate. It got signed into law by Barack Obama in 2014. Yes, it did.
They'll judge me on all of the things we've done. I don't think.
One of the things we'll judge you on is being a lying asshole about veterans issues.
And I think we can say this, we sure did, and it's never been even challenged in 3.5 years, the first 3.5 years, the first years of a presidency. I don't think any administration, any president has
lied so much about their accomplishments.
So much as we've accomplished.
We've rebuilt sections of wall that were already there during the Obama administration and extended areas of wall that were already paid for during the Obama administration. And I went down and put a plaque with my name on it on a section of wall at the Tijuana border with San Diego, which has been there forever.
Energy to health to so many other things. And then this came in and the plague, I call it the plague. The plague.
It's not the plague. It's SARS-CoV-2, which causes COVID-19. The 19 comes from the fact that it was first identified in 2019. It's not the plague. You could say it's a plague, but the plague is, as we know it, is either the Black Plague or the bubonic plague. We have plague. Plague shows up. They call it plague. There was an outbreak in China. There was there was even some plague showing up in downtown Los Angeles because it's carried by fleas. And there was in the homeless population, there was an outbreak of plague, and typhus was a problem as well. So to distinguish between plague and typhus and COVID-19, we don't call this one plague. Dumbass.
Amen. Terrible thing. Should have been stopped. Wasn't stopped.
Okay. They tried to stop it.
Came in. We had to shut things down to save potentially millions of lives. We did.
By the way, why is this an answer to any question? Why is this an answer to any question? Honestly. How does this answer anyone's question?
And now we've started them up, and I think we've really started it up very successfully. Yeah.
No, you haven't. You're having to shut it back down again. You can't say we've opened it up, we've reopened it, and it's going very successfully when you have a huge outbreak in the Sun Belt that's going to get worse before it gets better.
Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. You've been saying for months that the virus would simply disappear, and now you're saying that it's likely to get worse before it gets better.
By the way, very smart mask, jacket, tie combo. Some level of coordination there with the blue shirt. The grays, I don't know if they mix, but it's a good look.
It does keep getting worse. If Americans keep dying, are you responsible for that?
Well, no.
The virus will disappear. It will disappear.
Yes, one day we will cure cancer as well. But if this is 1984 and you're saying AIDS will just disappear, you're an asshole.
I think that I always like to say, as you know, either way, when you look at it, the governors are working with me. I'm working with the governor. We're working hand in hand. I think we're all responsible. I view it.
Just take responsibility. People will reward you for taking responsibility, even if stuff goes south. Do you have any testicles at all?
As a team, very good relationships with the governors. Very, very.
It's not a team is not when it's a win, it's me, and when it's a loss, it's you. That is not team. That's not team spirit.
Good relationships. I could say I'm fully responsible, but you know, one day we had a virus come in.
Oh my God. I could say, then say it. You complete wuss.
I closed the borders, did a lot of things that were very good. In fact, Dr. Fauci said we saved
oh my God.
tens of thousands of lives when I closed the border, and nobody wanted to do it. I wanted.
No. Yeah, you're the only person who only wanted to do that. You just wanted to shut the Chinese border, which we don't have a border, we have an ocean. 40,000 people still flew in. Anybody could still fly in if they flew through another country, which is why all the European traceage that comes into the east coast of America. And then you went and had a rally and went golfing and said there's only 15 cases. That was what everybody had an objection to.
We closed the border to China. We put on the ban. We didn't want people coming in from heavily infected China. Fairly shortly thereafter, I closed the borders from Europe, coming in from Europe.
Yeah, but you left the UK out of that. Weird. Why is that? Because Boris Johnson was your buddy, and you didn't want to hurt travel between here and the UK, even though they had more cases than the European Union did. And then Boris Johnson got it, and you shut it.
Those were tremendous moves. We would have, if it's one person, it's too much, but we're at, let's say, 140,000. We could have double, triple, quadruple that number if we didn't. So
we could, if you did nothing, you mean?
We did a lot of things right.
Why would anybody want credit for, I could have just golfed the whole time and a bunch of you bastards would be dead.
We did a lot of things right, including with equipment. So it's a shame that it happened. It shouldn't have happened. China should have stopped it.
So you're not taking responsibility, is what you're saying.
President, thank you,
Yes, go ahead, please.
Thank you, President Trump. If I could.
It's China's responsibility, is what he's saying. That's what he's saying.
Question.
Thank you. My hair's a little rough today. It's a little fluffy. But like I said, we can bang it around.
Questions. My first question is, we have a very quick testing platform here at the White House.
Yes.
It's great. You get tested, very quickly. Do you think that it would be easier to reopen and restart businesses if we could produce more of those machines?
We're trying to do that. Great question. We're trying very much to do that. So rather than sending your tests in and, it goes through the mail one day, comes back another day, no matter how they send them, it's a day.
And there's a lot of potential there for testing fraud, because where do these tests go? They get mailed out, and people scoop them up, and then you have illegal aliens testing themselves, and then you don't even know who's winning, COVID or the cure.
In a day, so that's 2 days already wasted. And then if it spends, by the time you get it back, it's 3 or 4 days if they do an efficient job. We're trying to get the testing on site.
Thank you.
I like it the best.
And my follow-up, my second question, it's a little bit a different topic, but it's one that a lot of people are talking about. Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison. And a lot of people want to know if she's going.
If you have a personal copy of that picture with you and your wife and her, and if you asked Fox News to cut you out of that picture that they showed, but why didn't you ask them to cut Melania's picture out of the Ghislaine Maxwell shot? Also, how much did you hang out with her versus Jeffrey? Was it 50-50 that amount of time or more so? Did she get you girls like she got him girls? Or did you wait until his girls turned 18 for legal reasons?
Turn in powerful people, and I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I
Right.
just wish her well, frankly.
I wish her well, frankly. Holy shit. I wish her well. If this isn't the quote of the entire frigging thing. Good God. She used to broom in underage girls so that Jeffrey Epstein could rape them. He knows this. Everyone knows this about this woman. Even if you want to pretend you didn't know then, but you know now, you can't not know now. So why would you wish her well? Are you high? What the shit are you talking about? Who wishes Ghislaine Maxwell well? Or is it just you're locked on her name? Holy God. Yeah, she trafficked girls for Jeffrey Epstein, but I wish her well. And oh my God.
Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is. I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
Holy shit. Wrap your head around. I knew her from Palm Beach and we hung out. I don't really know that. Are you kidding me? That's not even the Corleone wish her well. Like maybe that's snuff her out. I don't know that it's that smart. What kind of a dumbass actually says, I wish her well? Like that, okay, that's it for the next month. How do you do that? Well, again, you can pretend, if you're even just remotely the liar he is capable of being, and we know he is because, I mean, he just took credit for the Choice Act, and we know full well that it was signed into law in 2014. But imagine yourself on television being asked a question about Ghislaine Maxwell and then being told, and your answer being, I wish her well. Good God. I wish her well? I'm trying to wrap my head around by the way, the QAnon folks are all, they're all like, we're fighting the pedos and all that kind of stuff. They think they're winning some sort of war. And here's the thing. I will say this about some of the QAnon folks, as deluded and shitty as they are in their behavior, is that at least on some level, they are fighting in their minds pedophiles, a massive pedophile ring and that kind of stuff. And if you believe that, if they genuinely believe it, from an ethical and moral standpoint, I appreciate that from them. If there is a giant pedophile ring, they should be brought down, and every single one of them should obviously face justice and be acquitted so that we can all find them at home and they just kind of vanish in a puff of smoke or something. Burn them at the stake. I'm not saying that's what you do. I'm just saying that's how we feel. But that's the one thing I QAnons and all you maggots and Trumpsters, I share that with you. I really do. If that's your motivation, you just seem to be misguided in your targeting. It's not that the missile is misfunctioning, it's the targeting system that is off. Because you are living in this Pizzagate fantasy land, and dear leader here just wished Ghislaine Maxwell well. Can you frigging imagine that? How are you okay with that? Explain yourselves. You can think whatever you want to think about me. I don't care. Honestly. Like if you think randos on the internet actually affect my emotional state, you're mistaking me for Trump. But how in the hell can you keep sniffing this dude's farts the way you do and pretending you give a shit about pedophiles and think John's going to land in a Piper Cub and save us all from the Rothschilds led, I don't know what the story is. I don't even, like, it's absurd. But how can you believe that and still let that slide? Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, she has to have dirt on him. I mean, she has to have, they had cameras all through that house, so they've got video of him.
Thank you, sir. On unemployment insurance, how much?
Yeah, jump right to unemployment insurance, right. So you just wished Ghislaine Maxwell well in her court fight over the charges that she procured underage girls for a known pedophile who allegedly killed himself in jail. But unemployment.
Below $600, are you willing to go?
Jesus Christ. And by the way, and just grind on that, Facebook. Bye.
And
I can't broom the trolls out of Facebook and do the show at the same time. Like, it's way too much work. So if they can't behave, they don't get to be part of the party. I'm sorry.
The economy is bouncing back strong, so why do we need to even cut it at all?
Right, that's Jezebel. That's the way they're described in the news. So I beg your pardon. Yes, they're absolutely children, and I completely agree with you. I don't differentiate the two. Underage girls and children. Yeah, it's an important distinction linguistically, and I appreciate you bringing it up.
Well, the economy is getting stronger, and I think we have a chance to have a.
No, it isn't. No, we're on the verge of the $600 extra on unemployment insurance drying up. And a bunch of people are missing their house payments, and their and evictions are going to skyrocket, and we're not on the verge of it getting better.
A strong economy, especially if some of the things that I just spoke about work. We want to have people go back and want to go back to work, as opposed to be sort of forced into a position where they're making more money than they expected to make, and the employers are having a hard time getting them back to work. So,
yeah, no, that's not why people aren't going back to work. And if they're in a situation where that extra $600 a month is the reason why they're not going back to work, then the job they're in is more dangerous than it's worth.
That was a decision that was made. I was against that originally.
Yeah. By the way, for the record, I know I'm still on this, but Ghislaine Maxwell is not just charged with procuring children. Thank you for pointing that out and making that distinction. It's important. For Epstein and his buddies, including Trump's lawyer, to have sex with, allegedly. But she's also charged with rape herself, physically doing it, forcing herself sexually on children herself. Right? So even if he doesn't go, well, I didn't know her as that kind of person. But if you found out Ted Bundy had been doing what he was doing, you'd go, well, he used to be. I saw him around the office. He's a nice guy. I hope he does well. I hope his court case works out.
Decision, but they did that. It still worked out well because it gave people a lifeline, a real lifeline. Now we're doing it again. They're thinking about doing 70% of the amount. The amount would be the same, but doing it in a little bit smaller initial amounts so that people are going to want to go back to work, as opposed to making so much money that they really don't have to. But we were very generous with them. I think that it's been a tremendously successful program. The whole thing has been successful if you look. I mean, it's
all right. It's not a successful program. It's a cork in a hole in a lifeboat. Do you understand that the importance of that distinction? There are programs you create that create jobs and all kinds of other stuff, and then there are things that literally that's like saying returning fire at Pearl Harbor was a less than successful program.
Pandemic, and yet we're producing tremendous number of jobs. That was something that nobody thought possible. Okay, please.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Yesterday you said that wearing a mask.
Jesus Christ. I know I'm hooked on this, but is he going to commute or pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? Are we looking at that shit? By the way, did you see what Roger Stone said in his first interview after being let out?
Was an act of patriotism. If that
does he have any friends who aren't complete assholes?
is the case, why don't you do it more frequently?
Well, I do actually do it when I need. I mean, I carry the mask when I have to go. I went into Walter Reed Hospital.
Oh, look out, Carrot Top. He's got a prop.
The other day, I have the mask right here, and I carry it, and I will use it gladly. No problem with it. And I've said that, and I say...
They wore it at the hospital, and they chose that as a place because it's a hospital, and there were lots of other people who work there wearing masks, and he can excuse it. He went to a fundraiser right after that and didn't wear the mask. It's ridiculous. There is no other moment than the Ghislaine Maxwell thing in this. He just wished Ghislaine Maxwell well. What the... How is that not... How did that not set that room on fire?
Can use the mask when you can use the mask if you're...
What do you mean when you can? Define can. You can wear a mask sitting at home. Wear it when you go out, when you are around other people.
Close to each other.
And you can't socially distance.
If you're in a group, I would put it on when I'm in a group. If I'm in an elevator and there are other people with me and...
Oh, an elevator. So he just puts it on in elevators and then what, takes it off in the hall right outside?
Including like security people. It's not their fault. They have to be in the elevator. I want to protect them also. I put on a mask. I have no problem with a mask.
You're not protecting them when you get in there for elevator operators. You're protecting yourself from them and you know it.
I view it this way. Anything that potentially can help, and that certainly can potentially help, is a good thing. I have no problem. I carry it. I wear it. You saw me wearing it a number of times, and I'll continue. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Your message should be consistently wear it when you go out and you can't socially distance at every situation. That's what will end this in 6 to 8 weeks. The virus has an effective lifespan of about 22 days as far as its contagion, when you know you have it, when you might get tested, when you might be expressing virus, and as you arc down out of that. So there's a window of 40 days. That's why they call it quarantine, as in quartet 4, right? Quarantine, 10 days, for a whole month, 40 days in 10-day increments. That's what they used to do on ships. They check in with you every 10 days. So in those 40 days, which is that 6 to 8 weeks window, if everybody wears a mask, the overlapping part of that 40 days burns itself out. Because even if you have it, you don't pass it, and it doesn't continue. It dies on the vine.
You sending mixed messages, though? Yesterday you tweeted out an image wearing a mask, and then last evening we saw you not wearing a mask at your hotel.
Well, I don't know the hotel.
I don't know. There wasn't supposed to be cameras there.
I was pretty far away from people, but I...
No, you weren't.
I'd say this. I've explained it, I think, very well.
No, you haven't.
If you're close together, I would put on the mask. And if you're not, I would say that if you're, for instance, I'll see, like here, you've been all tested, I've been tested. Oftentimes I'll be with people that are fully tested, I've been tested. In theory, you don't need the mask. I'm getting used to the mask. And the reason is, think about patriotism. Maybe it is, it helps. It helps. Now,
wait a minute. Which? Like, this is him. All right. They told him, you can tell this is what this is. They had a conversation like, we need to make the case that it's patriotic to wear the mask. That was the case. And then Michelle Malkin hit him with, "You're not a patriot because you posted a picture of you wearing a mask." And now he's trying to get the message out of his face. And by the way, Biden is the one who grew up with a stutter, just for the record, his whole life. This guy never had a stutter. This is just crushed Sudafed speaking. But basically all he has to do is get that message out, that think of wearing the mask as being an act of patriotism for your fellow Americans. Wear an American flag one to show your support. Wear a Trump 2020 mask. Get them at our website.
We have experts that have said in the recent past that masks aren't necessarily good.
Because we're running out.
Well, you know that.
They said stay home.
But now they've changed their mind.
By the way, hi Twitch. There's so many people over in Twitch for the first time. Like, I think this is the first time we cracked 20. I know it's not a lot to most people, but when you're growing something, every little bit helps. Hi Twitch, how are you? Thanks for the subscriptions. It's meaningful when people hang over there. You can't just dangle. It's, so I see you and I appreciate you guys hanging out. That's nice. And of course, our YouTube regulars, I'm sorry for polluting you with Facebook people for a while as I tried to broaden the show. But, ugh.
They changed their mind. That
all the trolls are going to have to move to Twitter.
Good enough for me, so I wear it when appropriate. Please.
Hi, Bruno. Hi, Cicero. Hi, Jimmy.
A lot of Americans, though, may be surprised at your change of tone over all of this.
He hasn't changed his tone, you asshole. It's been the same tone as we read the thing, and it's one tone.
It's a more, perhaps, realistic tone. Some would look at it that way.
It's not a tone. It's written on a piece of paper for him. The strategy is more realistic because the South is screwed. This has nothing to do with him. This is the South, which is the anchor of his election chances, if at all. He's doing this because he's behind in Texas. All this bullshit of, I've seen the real polls, and the real polls show me doing great. No, the real polls show Biden kicking his ass in Texas on the coronavirus response because he came out with a plan in January before Trump's lockdown. Biden said, you're going to need to do something like a lockdown. You're going to need to be doing a track and trace strategy. You're going to have to do all these steps, follow the CDC's guidelines. You can't just do one of them and leave. That was the xenophobic part. You can't just have a China travel ban and then go golfing and have rallies and not do track and tracing and not isolate cases that are happening in Washington. If the Chinese could have stopped it in China, you could have stopped it in Washington, dumbass. There's no tone change.
Sudden embrace of masks, social distancing.
That's because the South has got major cases and hospitals in Texas are being overrun. This isn't a change in tone. This is a loss of voters. It's election strategy.
I always agreed with that. I mean, I've never fought either one, but certainly social distancing. That's common sense.
Yeah.
Speak to me is common sense. I'd like to say maybe make it a little bit further.
The idea that
that's the big, oh my God. This is his need to exaggerate all the goddamn time. That's what this is. That whole thing, like, you know what? I think social distancing now is great. So I think 6 feet, maybe we go 8 feet, maybe 9, perhaps 10 feet. Perhaps maybe if I did this from the roof.
Things will get worse, perhaps, before they get better here.
Yeah, they put that in because you cannot avoid that. This is the exact same shit that happened when he finally agreed on the 15 days to stop the spread that ended up being 45 days because they had to talk him into it twice.
And perhaps the realization that this resurgence, if you will, is for real when you use...
It's not a resurgence. It's still the same surgence.
Talk about it in terms of little...
By the way, I loved you in your Baptist quartet.
Fires being put out here and there. Would
We
you
have them
respond
too.
to that?
No, we have embers and fires, and we have big fires, and unfortunately now Florida is in a little tough, or in a big tough position.
A big tough position. Guys, that's what the problem is. In Florida is that we have fires and flamey flames, and Florida's in a big tough position.
You have a great governor there. You have a great governor in Texas. You have people that are very, very skilled people, and I think they're going to handle it very well. Their hospital capacities are holding.
Yeah, but you could have stopped it at 15 cases. You said, if China could have stopped it coming over here, you could have stopped it getting out of Washington State. You should have stopped it before, like the governor of Florida, DeSantis, should go, we could have stopped this, but the president obviously the Trump virus got into our state.
But Texas is a big state, and it's very well run, and so is Florida, and I think they'll do a very good job.
A very good job. What? Dealing with the deaths?
No, sir.
Are you sending them refrigerator trucks?
I wanted to ask you about the issue of vaccines, which you already mentioned. Yesterday, a study by a Chinese company showed some promising results for its coronavirus vaccine candidate. If China were first in developing the vaccine, or even if it weren't, would
I like her mask. It's very Overwatch. If it didn't have straps on it and it was just there and it had multiple colors on it, it'd be straight up
administration be
Overwatch.
willing to work with China to bring a successful Chinese vaccine to the U.S.?
Yeah, we're willing to work with anybody that's going to get us a good result. We're very close to the vaccine. I think we're going to have some very good results. We're already in testing. Nobody thought that would be possible under the.
No, everybody thought that would be possible. Everyone thinks that's possible. Okay, for the record, I thought that was possible. So when you say nobody thought that was possible, I did. Everybody in my chat room did. Everybody in the world did in January. Oh shit, there's a disease. I hope we find a vaccine. We should start working on that right away. We should start testing as soon as possible.
The old system would be a year to 2 years before you could even think about using the word testing. So I think we've had a lot of, and the reason we're testing, I mean, they've had good results. So now we have to see in the
Thanks,
testing
Bad Wolf.
also
Thank
for
you, Tracy.
safety, because they have to make sure it's safe. And I think you're going to see something over the next fairly short period of time, maybe very short period of time, having to do with therapeutics and vaccines that are very good. So we'll be doing these.
Is he leaving? Yeah, this is him
Quite
bailing out.
often. We're going to keep you abreast of this, and we'll
Who's
also.
we? This is not. By the way, this was supposed to be a task force briefing. They were going to restart the task force briefings. Where's the task force? And he came out and said the same shit. This is literally just him doing the same thing he did in those stupid phone calls. Goop, I think you mean you don't.
We'll talk about some of the other topics like our economy, which is doing well. The stock.
Yeah, this is a task force briefing. The stock market's doing very well. Tell us about the stock market.
Market had another good day, I think.
Yeah. And tell us about the unemployment numbers.
They have a good day because they see a lot of positive things happening.
No, they have a good day because they're moving money out of other areas and into other stock areas. That they're just shuffling their money around, and people are hiding their money in stocks that are going to grow, like pharmaceuticals. Thanks, Templeton. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's what I hope to be. This stream is a therapeutic. In many ways, I like it better than a vaccine.
This front too. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank
you. And off he goes. That was so enlightening. Don't you feel so good? I feel so much better because, and shall we? I hate to do this to you, but
was achieved.
Where is
I will say this. I want to thank others of the test, and again, we'll leave us on this, but have been even challenged.
Months, the virus would simply disappear.
Not him.
Working with me, I'm working with the governor. We
Where
put
are they?
on the ban.
Where
What happened? It shouldn't.
Topic, but it's one that a lot of people are talking about. Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and so a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in.
I'm not gonna say anything on this one. I just want us to get this down.
People, and I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is. I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
Bullshit. Honestly, like I said, anybody who would wish that woman well is either a pedophile themselves and are like, I'd like her back out on the street because I hear she does great work, or she has dirt on them. I wish her well. Good. Of course he knows why she was arrested, and he absolutely knows about the Prince Andrew story. They already asked him about it before. For Christ's sake. I don't know, that it looked like an OAN type reporter, but he was dead center and he had a paper mask on. I don't know who. But there is no way he doesn't know about Prince Andrew. He already talked about it. No, he didn't. Yes, he brought it up on his own. The guy I think said, "What about Prince Andrew?" Is part of the question about powerful men. I don't know how is that not Lawrence? I know your writers are watching. Everybody on MSNBC. I know at least one person in your writing staff is watching right now. Hello, and I'm glad you're here. I understand I'm on a list and not a follow because you can't know, and that's totally good. I don't mind you distancing yourself from me. It's very smart. But how can you not bring this up? Jesus Christ, this is nuts. Yeah. Yeah, how in the world? Thank you, Brian. Thanks. This guy's really a definition of a liar. Yes. For Christ's sakes. For the record, just in case anybody's wondering, I don't wish Ghislaine Maxwell well. Okay? Here we're pretty good about, we like our justice system intact, and one of the reasons why the United States is superior to a lot of other countries is because you have a legal process, a jury of your peers. You get to, confront witnesses. You get to present evidence. You get to see the evidence that the other side has. All those things. I want everyone to have that. Okay? But if even a sliver of what they say about Ghislaine Maxwell is actually true, I wish her ill on some level. At the very least, that ill should take the form of life imprisonment in a 6x6 gray cell. Because Epstein, horrifyingly disgusting people. I mean, zero sympathy. Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to the show. It's a good time to remind everybody. Good God. I wish her well. What are you talking about? Free her? No, well, no. The only reason you want Ghislaine Maxwell free is so that someone can run over her with a car. That's anybody who's like, I think she should. I hope she gets out. Yeah, so she can end up hanging herself in her garage like the DC madam. Please. Yeah. No. We don't wish death on anyone around here, just as an ethical rule. But we sure as shit don't wish people like that well. Well. Good. And again, this will get lost in all the other hyperbolic bullshit he said and all the nonsense. But I mean, I can't be I can't be alone in this. Yeah. So anyways, like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to ditch out early because I'm going to be on John Melendez's podcast. So I'm going to jump over there. I'm on at 4:30. They're live streaming at his channel. So I'm going to get all set up and ready for that. But I appreciate you guys being with me today. I can't believe that happened. Honest to God, I cannot believe he said that. We've seen all this stuff. We've seen him say a lot of weird shit. But this is off the charts. Can you literally, any presidential candidate, anybody running for president, can you imagine them saying at a debate, please at the debate, please God, someone at the debate go, during a task force briefing, you wished Ghislaine Maxwell well. You're aware that she's been charged with helping Jeffrey Epstein procure women. You've said Jeffrey Epstein liked his women on the younger side. You know now that he was a pedophile. convicted, not alleged, convicted, that several victims are suing him for rape and his estate for damages because he died before they could get justice. And Ghislaine Maxwell helped him find those girls. So knowing that, and anybody with their head not tucked firmly in their own ass, why would you wish her well? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm kind of having a Maddo moment in some ways. I'm just like, where does this even? How do we? Except I've got longer hair than she does. This, yeah, I can't. And thank you. Did I miss? And cheers, everybody. Appreciate that, folks. Absolutely, Matt. Appreciate you. Everybody who's showing up, who's new. Thank you guys for showing up. We've got 343 people in just the YouTube chat alone. That's not viewers. That's just the people who decide to watch this and hang out in the chat. That's great. I appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, even the trolls. We had almost 2,500 people just on the Facebook page. I had to shut it down just because they were spamming. I don't actually have a problem when they watch and go, "You suck," because whatever. But because you know how delicate my ego is, guys. That was impressive numbers. That was crazy. So, anyways, looking for my Cash App. Oh, I appreciate that, Tanya. Just paypal.me/HalSparks, or you can become a patron, patreon.com/HalSparks. We're looking for 500 patrons. Any little bit helps. You guys are awesome. That's what'll keep the show on the air and keep it going. You're fantastic. Don't ever forget it. We will see you tomorrow. If you jump over to John Melendez's, I got to find his link. I'll post it. I'll be right over there. So I got to sign off. Cheers. Thank you. I'm glad you like the mullet. It's growing on everyone. I think it's going to be a keeper, although I may continue to grow my hair extra long, you know.
Call me Snake.
So I will see you guys later. Bye. All right, I got to sign off. Cheers. Thanks.
Well, it's a well-known fact, Sonny Jim, that there's a secret society of the 5 wealthiest people in the world, known as the Pentaverate, who run everything in the world, including the newspapers, and meet tri-annually at a secret country mansion in Colorado known as the Meadows.
So who's in this Pentaverate?
The Queen, the Vatican, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, and Colonel Sanders before he went tits up.
Something strange happened to me this morning. Was it a dream where you see yourself standing in sort of sun god robes on a pyramid with 1,000 naked women screaming and throwing little pickles at you? No. Why am I the only person that has that dream?
Shut up and never say anything again as long as you live.
Did you have shade?
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
Guy talk!
You are physically repulsive, intellectually retarded, vulgar, insensitive, selfish, stupid. You have no taste, a lousy sense of humor, and you smell.
You lied to me!
Did you have shade?
He's you real nice. If I didn't have puke breath, I'd kiss you.
Would you classify that as a launch problem or a design problem?
I'm just a happy camper.
Why don't you just sit there and bleed a while before you taste some real pain?
So that's the kind of fight it's gonna be.
I'm telling you straight. It's my way or the highway. So anybody who wants to walk, do it now.
I'm a land farmer, motherfucker!
We've got entirely too many troublemakers here.
Would you classify that as a launch problem or a design problem?
And you know, when you say per capita, this many per capitas, it's like per capita relative to what?
To be a moron. To be moronical. An imbecile.
Groovy.